This is the 6-minute review of Gemara Nazir Daf Yod Aleph, and we begin on the top of Yod Aleph Amud Aleph, in which the Mishnah begins and says, if someone is poured a cup of wine, and he says, I am a Nazir, what is Allah? He's a Nazir. But if a woman who's a drunkard is poured a cup of wine, she says he's a Nazir, say the Chachamim, no. She only means to say it's a carbon. Ask the Gemara, the story itself contradicts what's going on in the Mishnah. Says the Gemara, you're right, we have to add words into the Mishnah. If you're poured a cup of wine and you say you're a Nazir, you're a Nazir. If one is a drunk and he's poured a cup of wine, he says he's a Nazir, he's not a Nazir, rather is a carbon. Why didn't he just say it's a carbon? Because he's afraid they're going to pester him and pain him in order to drink. So he doesn't want them to drink. So he says, I'm a Nazir, leave me alone. So in that case, he's not a Nazir because he's a drunkard. And rather what? Rather in that case, you just have to bring a carbon of, And the Mishnah continues, another Mishnah. If someone says, I'm a Nazir on Kiddushin, that I'm able to drink wine, I'm able to come Tami Mason, which of course are counterintuitive to what a Nazir is. Allah is a Nazir, and he's not allowed to do any of those things. He says, I know there's Nazirs, but I don't know that a Nazir is Asir in wine. What is the halacha? The halacha is, he is Asir. Says the Tanakama, says Rav Shimon, no, he is allowed, he is not a Nazir. If he says, I know that a Nazir is Asir in wine, but I thought Chacham would be makel for me because I can't live without wine or without becoming Tamei Meis. What's the halacha? Now all of a sudden the names change. Tanakama says he's mutter and Rav Shimon says he's Aser. So I asked the Gemara, first of all, why doesn't Rav Shimon argue in case number one in the case when he says I'm a Nazir, I don't drink wine? Two answers. Answer number one says Rav Shimon Levi, he does. Okay. Answer number two says Ravina, no, he does not argue. You know why? Because in case A, everyone agrees he's not a Nazir because it's Masna, Masha, Kosa, Ba'atayra. You're making a Tanai explicitly that which the Torah says you're not allowed to do. You're making a Tanai that I could drink wine and a Nazir can't drink wine. Therefore, the Tanai is batal. What does Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi respond? It seems like a very sensible explanation. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi views case number one in the Mishnah as if he says Chutz and not Almanas. And the Gemara brings an explicit brisa to the opinion of Ravina. And we continue into the latter two cases in the Mishnah, in which he says, I know that a Nazir can't, I know there's a cat, but a Nazir I know could drink wine. In that case, Rav Shimon is mekel. But in the case that he says it's impossible for me, and I was assuming the Chacham are going to be mekel for me, Rav Shimon is machmir. So I asked the Gemara, what's going on with Rav Shimon? Is he machmir and he's mekel? So answer number one, he switched around the names, and Rav Shimon is always mekel. Very simple. Answer number two says the Gemara, no, don't switch around the names as we move over to Yud Aleph on the base. And says the Gemara, you know the difference between the second and the third case, the Reish and the Seifa. The difference is, according to the Rabbanan, even if you say you're only a Nazir from one entity, we learn back on Gimel and Beis, what's the halacha? Halacha is you have a full-fledged Nazir, but Rav Shimon disagrees. Rav Shimon says the only time you're a Nazir is if you say you're a Nazir from each and every entity that Nazir is forbidden to. In the Seifa, what's the difference? Why in the Seifa is Rav Shimon machmir? Because the Seifa you're coming to be shoyel. Say you said you're a Nazir, but now you're coming to undo your Nazira. So now the opinions of Rav Yud, the Rabbanan and Rav Shimon go in the reverse. The Rabbanan said you're a Nazir. Now you want to get rid of one entity? What's halacha? You still have a din of a Nazir. So now when you want to get rid of one entity, you get rid of the whole thing. Just like you could be part, if you said you're a part neder, you're a full-time neder. If you try to undo part, you undo the whole thing. Rav Shimon disagrees, and Rav Shimon says, no, you have a din of a full-fledged Nazir. You want to undo it, you can only undo it if you undo it all. And the fact you're only undoing some of the things, says Rav Shimon, you're going to be aser. So according to this answer, you don't have to switch around the names, and in the Sefer Rav Shimon is machmer, and the Reishi is mekel. And the third answer is, Iba Yisema number two, the third answer is, I was talking about Nidrei Einsin, in the last case of the Mishnah. The reason why in that case Rav Shimon is machmer, because it's a unique case of Nidrei Einsin. He says, I can't do it, I can't hold on to it. So what's the halacha? There are 4 Nedarim, you learned in Gemara Nedarim. And what is the status of these 4 Nedarim? Rav Yehuda says the name Rav Asi, you need to be Sheila L'Chachamim. Shmuel says no, you don't have to actually positively go to the Chacham to undo it, it happens automatically. So if Shimon in the Mishnah is going like Rav Asi, then you need to proactively have a Sheila, and since you didn't, you're going to be Aser. Whereas the Rabbanan are going like Shmuel, and therefore you're not gonna have to need a she'el automatically. It's going to be a done, and therefore it's going to be more mekel. Now we have another mishnah. If a person says already Nazir, and then he adds on, and I'm going to bring the carbon Nazir, Laila Gelech Nazir. His friend says the same thing, Ani, and I'm going to bring it. Says the mishnah, if they're smart, to fulfill their second statement of Laila Gelech Nazir by bringing the other guy's carbonis. If not, not. So says the Gemara, in the case of the Mishnah, the friend heard and he said, Va'ani and Alayli Galeach. What if he just says Ani? Do we say that Ani is going on the whole thing? Or no, it's only going on half? And if it's only going on half, on which half? Is it going in the half that his friend said he's going to be a Nazir? Or is it going in the half that his friend said Alay Liga Leach? So says the Gemara, we can bring a raya from the Mishnah itself, and the fact that the Mishnah said Ani Va'alay Ligaleach, seemingly the Ani is going in the first part, and the Alay Ligaleach is going on the second part. So says the Gemara, okay, so Ani is going on half, but which half? So Amalei Ravuna, Breder Rav Yeshua, Rava, why are you so convinced what's going on over here? With this we conclude, because we see in the next Mishnah that it says the exact same thing, but there it's only talking about a Chatzi Naziris, and there are two parts of the statement. And still in that case it says the same thing. Rava responds, no. The exact opposite, says Rava. The next Mishnah needs to teach us a Chiddush. If the next Mishnah was repeating the exact same thing as this Mishnah, there would be no Chiddush at all. So says Rava, makes more sense to say that in our Mishnah he needed to say it, and in the next Mishnah he didn't need to say it, and therefore each Mishnah has its own Chiddush. But if you tell me they both didn't need to say it, it can't be. And with that we conclude, seemingly a raya that Vani does mean half. We'll pick it up for the Chazar and Daf Yud Beis in the next year, B'siyata Dishmayo.